Units of area. When we calculate the area of something, we're working out how many squares of a certain side length fit into the shape. The side length square of the square comes from the units that we're using. So since I'm using centimeters here, they're asking me to split this up into squares of an area of 1 centimeter squared, 1 by 1. And we've worked out that 3 centimeters here and 2 centimeters here means I've got 3 lots of 2 equals 6 centimeters squared. So when I'm finding area, I'm counting how many squares of a certain size fit into that shape. We do need to be able to convert between units of area. For example, if I wanted the area of this shape in millimeters squared. Now I'll explain why it works, but then we'll just show you the method that you can use to get your answer. So it's okay if the explanation doesn't really work for you. If I wanted to change this length into millimeters, it was in centimeters, there's 10 millimeters in 1 centimeter, so this would be 3 times 10 millimeters, that's 30 millimeters. And this side is 2 times 10 millimeters. That's 20 millimeters. So I had to times the length by 10 and I had to times the width by 10. So I had to times by the conversion to millimeters twice. Now what that means is when I want to get my conversion factor for area, I have to square the length conversion factor because the conversion from centimeters to millimeters is 10, but I've got to do that twice. I've got to multiply by 10 here and I've got to multiply by 10 here. So there's 1,000 meters in 1 kilometer. So to get the conversion factor for area, I've got to do 1,000 times 1,000, which is 1,000,000 meters squared in 1 kilometer squared. Now it doesn't matter if that doesn't really make sense because we can just write down the conversion factors and learn how to use them. So this is our first conversion factor. There's 1,000,000 meters squared in 1 kilometer squared. We also need to use a hectare, which is used for larger areas of land. So I live on 35 hectares, and there's 10,000 meters squared in 1 hectare. The other conversion factors you'll need, there's 100 millimeters squared in 1 centimeter squared. There's 10,000 centimeters squared in 1 meter squared, and I'm not sure if you need millimeters to meters. Let's just pop it in anyway. There's 1,000,000, so 6 zeros, millimeters squared in 1 meter squared. So that's all our conversion factors that we would need. And we work with our conversion factors the same way that we did with length. So your steps are, write the conversion factor, or your conversion rule, underneath the correct unit, or the matching unit, you write your known value. So, hectares into meters squared. Write the conversion factor. 10,000 meters squared in 1 hectare. Underneath the matching unit, you write your known value. I know that I've got 3.5 hectares, so I'm going to write that under the hectares side. 3.5 hectares. Then, remember, from the side where you know both things, so I need to work out what do I do here, work out what I did here. That was 1 times 10,000, because I got a much bigger number. So I've got to do times 10,000 here. 3.5 times 10,000, 35,000. And that's in meters squared. So remembering how that works, so our next step was work out times or divide. So my next one, 85 millimeters squared into centimeters squared. Find the conversion factor, millimeters squared in centimeters squared. And that was 100 millimeters squared in 1 centimeter squared. I've got a value of millimeters squared, so I write that under the millimeters squared side. 85 millimeters squared. And then we're going from this side to that side now. What did I do to get from here to there? I've got a much smaller number. I must have divided by 100 to get back to 1. So I'm going to divide by 100 there as well. And 85 divided by 100, 0.85. 85 centimeters squared. And put your little in as well. So that's how it works to convert units of area. It's the same as converting units of length. Write the conversion rule, put the number underneath that you've got under the correct matching units, and work out times or divide and do it to both of them.